Welcome back to another comic review, and this is yet again another comic that my good friend Mount Vernon Kid, Chris, thank you again for this book. And today we're going to be talking about an Image comic by a very well-known creative team. Yeah, this is a comic written by Geoff Johns and artwork by Gary Frank. So we have Geoff Johns and Gary Frank doing a Image book. And yeah, you never thought you'd see like Geoff Johns and Gary Frank doing an Image comic? Here we go. It's Geiger. So, how do I explain Geiger? Like, what's the best way I can explain what Geiger is and what it's about? The best way I can describe it is, imagine Fallout, but if Superman was in it. Like, that's the best way I could describe Geiger. So, Geiger takes place in the year 2050 after the events of what is known as the Unknown War, and follows the story of a man named Tyreek Geiger. Tyreek Geiger was suffering from cancer when and going through a unique cancer treatment when the nuclear bombs that happened in this war changed his DNA, and now he stalks the wastelands, essentially being known as the Glowing Man. He's kind of like the Bigfoot of this universe. He's like an urban legend among all what's left of the different kingdoms and whatnot of the world. Like, he's just kind of out there in the world, and he essentially is just kind of like a myth in a way. So this is a really fun book. I regret not reading this sooner. I was like, yeah, I like Gary Frank's artwork. Geoff Johns can be a good writer when he's not being apparently a piece of shit, according to a lot of sources. But that's not the case. That's a conversation for another time. But yeah, this comic is a lot of fun. This comic is just complete and total awesome. You've seen a ton of post-apocalyptic stories. Let's get that out of the way right now. We have seen a shit ton of post-apocalyptic comics throughout the ages. Like, we've seen shit tons of post-apocalyptic stories throughout the ages, and comics. Like, I could just throw a dart at the wall. And I think Johns and Frank knew that going in. Like, I think Geoff Johns and Gary Frank knew that, and were like, yeah, we've seen this story before, but we wanted to still do a superhero story while doing that. We wanted to do like a fun superhero comic while we were, working on that as well. So that's what I really like about this, is that it's a comic book that has a post-apocalyptic comic that has a lot of superhero telling. And it's very obvious that this book has a lot of... this comic has a lot, and I do stress, a lot of inspiration from Fallout. I don't know if Gary Frank and Geoff Johns played a lot of Fallout, but there are literally some places in here and some opponents they face that are like, that's a ghoul, or that's a mutant right there. Like, you literally see a ton of shit in here that will make you go, so did you guys just play a shit ton of Fallout New Vegas and just go, let's do that, but have a superhero in it? Like let's have a Superman-esque character in here. That's the only way I could describe that in this story. Yeah. So, yeah. What's also crazy is that there's also a whole universe this is building. Like, Geiger is building a whole universe for Geoff Johns and Gary Frank, which God knows how long that's gonna take. Because, Gary Frank's artwork is so, it's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but Gary Frank is not known for being a punctual artist, and also Geoff Johns is, working on fucking everything. So, yeah. There's a ton of comics out in here, it's like a shared universe they're building. Like, we have Geoff Johns and Gary Frank creating Junkyard Joe, which is like a robot in Vietnam, coming this year. I don't know if the trade's already up, but I'm curious to read it. And then you have also coming 2022 is Redcoat, which is another book by Gary Frank, and is also but the artwork's going to be done by Brian Hitch. So I'm curious to read those too. I wonder if those are in trade, but yeah, this is all in the same universe as Geiger. Geiger, I guess, takes place in the far future. Junkyard Joe is going to take place in, like, the Vietnam, and God knows where Redcoat's going to be. This comic is also beautiful. I mean, it's Gary Frank. Of course, it's his artwork's amazing. Like, what's a good picture I can use? Because this is like, it's Image Books, so it is like Geoff Johns and Gary Frank got to be all out. But there is some like overt violence in here. Like, this is some of those violent reading I've seen from him in a while, from Geoff Johns in a while. I mean, yeah. So there you go. Like, look at that. Like, yeah, it's Gary Frank. Of course you know it's going to be good. Like, that's the thing, is, like, we already know Gary Frank's artwork is really good, and it's Geoff fucking Johns. Of course it's going to have great writing. The antagonists in here, at least in this first volume, is known as the King, who is the King of Las Vegas, and his Nuclear Knights, which literally is like, imagine He-Man, but they were all drunk, womanizing assholes. Like, it's like that. Like, this is Geoff Johns just basically going, fuck y'all, I'm gonna write whatever I want. And boy howdy does he do that. Like, this comic is just chock full of just fun ideas just spewing out of everything. And, like, you're like, well, how does that logically work? Like, why is there a guy, like, wanting, why is there a king in Las Vegas, and how did he get that? Or why is the remnants of Manhattan now run by, like, fucking people from the 20s? Or, like, why are there pirates again? And Geoff Johns immediately got, like, imagine, like, Geoff Johns popping out of the comic and backhanding you, like, shut it, bitch, it's my comic. And then hit you again for, you know, for whatever reason. Anyway, so do I recommend Geiger? Like, do I recommend Geiger? Yeah, I really recommend it. It is like Volume 1, and as with all Image books, or 99% of first Image books, it's only $10. That's how they get you. Like, that's how they really get you with Image books, is that they always keep the first volume price $10, and then they hook you. So yeah. Do I recommend this book? There is some stuff I haven't really talked about, because it is like a road trip story, but there's a lot of fun here. There's some great storytelling. Tyreek Geiger is such an interesting character, of being like a god and a living myth among the remnants of mankind. So if you enjoy superhero comics, as well as like stories like Fallout and Mad Max and other post-apocalyptic stuff, yeah, get this. Get this book. That's all I can really say, is go get this book. The dude has a two-headed wolf, a two-headed nuclear wolf, as his pet sidekick. What the fuck else do I need to say to you people to make you read this? Anyway, so Chris, I know you're watching this, so thank you again so much for this comic. Yeah, I wish I got to it sooner, honestly, but hey, better late than never. So, you guys tell me in the comments below, if you've read Geiger, what did you guys think of it? Comment below, let me know. As always, hope you all enjoyed this review. Hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon for exclusive content, and if you hit the 4th tier, you can send me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.